Some analysis. Let's bring in Klaus Jurgen. He's a political analyst. He joins me now live from Berlin. Klaus, great to see you. So, as I already mentioned, perhaps the most significant levies will be the ones on China, and Donald Trump has not announced them yet. Why is that?
Hello, dear Jafar. Thanks for having me. Yes, I think Donald Trump is playing a slightly political trade war dangerous game. Pardon me for this long introduction. Now, of course, he knows very well that there is Europe, there are countries around the world, but actually China wants to catch up exactly with the rest of the world, either by producing top-end, high-class products, or by copying from other countries, or by producing mass products which can be sold into other markets at a cheaper rate than their domestic products. Now, of course, Donald Trump knows very well that, as one of the Democratic Party advisors some decades ago said, it is the economy, stupid, making a point during the election campaign. He will realize very shortly that he has two options: to keep American consumers as global consumers being able to buy either cheap imported goods or high-end, expensive imported goods. Think luxury watches from Switzerland, what have you. Right. Or to make sure that none of them can actually be imported. Who is suffering? The US consumer.
Klaus, this is what I wonder, and this is something that I haven't been able to understand yet, because we have been talking about these US tariffs for months now. And of course, Donald Trump announces these tariffs, then he backpedals, and then he says that he's going to delay the implementation of these tariffs. This is not the first time he's delaying the implementation. He has done that before. So, it makes me wonder, does Donald Trump even understand what these tariffs mean and what kind of impact they're going to have on U.S. economy and its relations with foreign countries?
Thanks very much, dear Jafar. Exactly, this is my point. And I'm going back to our election coverage live in the Istanbul studio. When Donald Trump was re-elected, I said, look, give this guy 100 days in office and realpolitik, the famous German term, will kick in. Now it is longer than 100 days, and it hasn't. Yes, he meets Ursula von der Leyen in Scotland, and they agree on a 15% tariff. All of a sudden, it should have been the 1st of August. Then it is the 2nd, and no one knows what will happen next. Now, German small and medium-sized Enterprises Federation is absolutely up in arms, and they said, look, the EU could have negotiated so much better. Now, I think everyone is suffering for the time being. The US consumers, I mentioned this before, because imported goods will be simply more expensive. And can the Americans replicate them overnight by copy and paste? I don't think so. They would have done decades ago. Secondly, less exports from, in particular, SME, which in some countries form 99% of the economy in Europe, to America. So who will suffer? Of course, those European manufacturers and ultimately their staff. And so it is a lose-lose situation. Yes, he wants to balance the trade imbalance between Europe and the US. Fair enough. But Brussels and Mrs. von der Leyen gave in so easily to simply say, yes, we agree, and 15% is better than the proposed 30. Now, today in Parliament, one of the political parties already motioned and said, look, who's in charge of that German economy will suffer now? It is not the European Union, it is the German government not having told Brussels strongly enough, you must really show negotiating power and do not let Donald Trump pull you over the table. So I think, I still hope that realpolitik will kick in and Donald Trump will say, look, we need friends. We are a global trading nation. So is Europe, so is the world. And let's work on ideally a free trade agreement with as many countries as possible.
Fascinating insights. Klaus Jurgen, thanks very much for joining me here on TRT World. As always, really appreciate your taking out the time.